At the start of the film, we meet Mary, a surgical student with a deep passion for the medical world. Her obsession with perfection leads her to practice stitching on a lifeless turkey at home. One day, during class, Mary's phone rings, waking her up from a deep sleep. The professor's stern gaze falls on her and she quickly apologizes. She admits to staying up late and falling asleep in class. The professor accuses her of making excuses and says that there is no room for excuses in a surgeon's life. When the class is over, he reminds her to focus and leaves after Mary promises to improve. Meanwhile, it is revealed that the phone call was from her mobile provider, who was threatening to disconnect the service due to unpaid dues. The financial crunch takes a toll on Mary, but she shows courage by hiding her financial difficulties in front of her beloved grandmother. Desperate for money, she applies for a job at a nightclub and gets an interview that evening. It turns out it's actually a strip club. The manager, Billy, intrigued by her attractive looks and scent, ignores her resume and takes her to a private room. A stranger barges into the room and tells Billy that one of their own won't be coming back. Billy quickly apologizes and leaves Mary waiting. Suddenly, he returns with a seriously injured man. With urgency in his voice, Billy offers Mary $5,000 for the surgery, but with the condition that she is not to ask any questions. Despite not having a medical license, Mary's financial struggles are weighing on her mind. So, she decides to take the risk. The surgery proves to be more challenging than she anticipated, but with her quick thinking and basic surgical knowledge, Mary rises to the occasion and performs the operation flawlessly. Her panic and adrenaline rising, she rushes home with the money, but the truth about what she did is revealed. Scared and emotional, Mary cries in the bathroom. Fearing the consequences of her actions, she takes a deep breath and grabs a baseball bat for protection before settling in for a restless night's sleep. The next morning, Mary's phone rings with a call from a woman who addresses her as doctor, sending a shiver down her spine. Anticipating the worst, she quickly hangs up, only to receive another call from her part-time boss at the restaurant. The news is devastating that the restaurant has been shut down due to inability to pay rent, reducing her income even further and making her future difficult. But despite the setbacks, Mary remains optimistic. Though upset, she finds solace in her love for surgery and continues to hone her skills through practicing suturing at home. As Mary practices stitches, the doorbell suddenly rings. Heading to the kitchen, she takes off her apron and turns around, but finds the door wide open. A mysterious woman emerges from behind Mary, who looks just like Betty Boop. Her name is Beatrice, and she was the one who called earlier. To reassure Mary, Beatrice gives her $200 in cash. Beatrice explains that she has had 14 surgeries to achieve her look and needs Mary's surgical expertise for a friend. She saw Mary's resume from Billy and thought she was up to the task, so she offers the whopping $10,000 for the procedure. Mary refuses, not wanting to repeat her previous mistake, but Beatrice promises to give her $2,000 if she comes in tomorrow. The prospect of such easy money makes Mary nervous. As night falls, Mary arrives at the veterinary clinic where Beatrice is impatiently waiting for her. With a large amount of cash in hand, Beatrice gives her $12,000 and instructs Mary to follow the patient's instructions to the letter. As she walks into the next room, Mary notices one of Beatrice's friends who wants to become a sexless human doll by having her nipples and external genitalia removed. Mary doesn't understand this, but after confirming everything with Beatrice, the lure of easy money is too much to stop her. With a heavy heart, Mary agrees to undergo surgery. The surgery goes as smoothly as expected. Mary leaves with surgical supplies and care instructions for her friend. She reminds her to keep her identity confidential. Mary quickly leaves the scene, overwhelmed and nauseous from the shock of the surgery. She begins her residency program at a medical institute. One day, while on her way to work, she meets a familiar figure. It is Beatrice. She comes to express her gratitude for the surgery. As Mary had instructed her not to approach her, she gives Mary a gift, and they exchange polite greetings before Mary leaves for work. At the end of the day, Mary is excited to go to a surprise party hosted by her teacher. Despite her previous belief that her teacher does not like her, she goes to the party in a dress gifted to her by Beatrice. While chatting with the professor, she drinks a glass of wine when she begins to feel dizzy and faints. A few days later, Mary leaves her residency and enlists Billy's help to kidnap the professor. With a sinister smile, Mary leads the professor to the operating table and ties him up while he quakes in fear. The professor realizes too late what she is about to do, as Mary begins to alter his body through a series of horrific procedures, including ripping out his tongue, cutting out his teeth, manipulating his hormones and cutting off his limbs. The professor's nightmare lasts for 14 hours while Mary enjoys her perverted work. Mary hones her skills as a secret plastic surgeon. With the help of Billy's team, Mary's reputation grows and she becomes renowned for her exceptional skills. A police officer approaches Mary, asking for information about the missing professor and reveals disturbing information about the professor and a list of people who have a vendetta against him. Wearing a convincing mask, Mary acts as if she has found out about the investigation into the professor's disappearance. She paints a tough picture of the professor, but also says there was no animosity in their relationship, leaving her no reason to hold a grudge. The police officer gives Mary his phone number and tells her to call him if she has any information. However, Mary casually rejects the request. Mary goes to the club later that night to meet Billy and Beatrice. She fears the police officer may have gotten information from the professor's colleague, who is at the party. After Beatrice's performance, she and Mary leave the club together, and Beatrice gives Mary another gift. Due to the success of her friend's surgery, Mary is approached by twin sisters who are willing to pay her a large sum of money to alter their bodies. They want to switch their hands and make their heads look even more monster-like. Mary cannot perform the surgery on both at the same time, so Billy helps her find an assistant. The surgery is a success, but Mary's attention is drawn to the professor, whom she visits with the camera. The professor is stunned with fear, his organs removed and his voice silenced. Mary bragged about her latest successful operation before the professor's eyes, reveling in the fact that she is now not only a skilled surgeon, but also has the courage to make mistakes. As she gloats over her skill, a security guard arrives, determined to save the professor, but Mary is not going to give up so easily. She sneaks up behind the guard with great precision and beats him mercilessly until he is no longer a threat to her. Meanwhile, Billy kidnaps the professor's assistant and prevents him from venting his anger. While Billy is carrying out this beating, he receives a call from Mary. Billy is too busy to answer, so he sends one of his men, a rough and burly man with long hair, to meet him. Mary, who is still shocked and stunned by the recent events, disposes of the bodies of the professor and the security guard. The burly man sees that Mary is upset and distressed. The burly man, seeing that Mary is shocked and distressed by the incident, decides to share his painful experience with her to make her feel better. He tells her how a few years ago, someone broke into his mother's house and brutally attacked her, leaving her severely injured. The attacker even took away her phone so that she could not call for help. It took 3 days to find his mother, and she had to stay in the hospital for 4 months. Had he known Mary at that time, he would have begged her to rip the violent attacker's chest apart. He urges Mary not to underestimate the power of her skills and to accept the fact that she has the ability to inflict pain on those who deserve it. If she ensures that they have earned it, she should not feel guilty. Mary reflects on his words and begins to find peace with her actions, finally feeling that she has control over what she has done. The next day, Mary is rewarded by the grateful twins for her successful surgery. She quickly gains notoriety, and an increasing number of people come to her for unique surgical alterations. Suddenly, the police officer investigating the professor's disappearance calls Mary. She quickly clears the operating room just before the officer arrives. Suspecting that he may be keeping an eye on her, Mary slips a sedative into his drink. The officer reveals that he has found tapes of the professor sexually assaulting young girls. He doesn't find any of Mary's, but he believes she was a victim too. Seeing that he is being truthful, Mary replaces his drugged drink with a normal one. Unfortunately, despite wanting to help, the officer doesn't press the matter when he sees that she doesn't want to talk about it. After the officer arrives, Mary discovers a missed call. She calls back and learns that her grandmother has passed away. She is now completely alone without any friends or family. All she can think about is Billy, but at the club, Mary finds Billy alone with another girl. Billy greets Mary, but doesn't confess to taking her tape. Both are aware of their feelings, but keep quiet. Mary leaves and is ready to kill the girl while brandishing surgical tools in the bathroom, but stops when she sees a camera and gives up. That evening, Mary confronts Billy at the club. She is about to reveal her true feelings. Billy tells her that he hasn't heard from Beatrice in a while. Given recent events, he thinks she needs a break from it all, and he sincerely asks if Mary would like to travel with him. Mary thinks for a while and then tells him that she needs more time to think about the idea. However, they don't know that this will be the last time they will speak to each other. As soon as she reaches home, Mary receives a call from Beatrice, who is seriously injured by her friend's husband, who went mad and killed her friend. The husband tortures Beatrice to tell him Mary's address. Before Mary can understand anything, she is attacked from behind with a knife. In self-defense, she grabs the weapon and eventually kills the attacker. With determination in her eyes, she enters the operating room, her hand steady, and she holds the needle and thread. But as she starts stitching the wound, she realizes that this time the case is different. Despite undergoing countless surgeries in life, she is unable to save herself. The siren of the police car gets louder, her breathing slows down. The officer arrives and finds her lifeless body, a tragedy he cannot ignore. But as he walks through the corridors of her house, he catches sight of the professor's lifeless body. At that moment, the officer grieves for the girl he once knew, whose life was cut short due to circumstances beyond her control.